Welcome back, guys. So today I'm going to be brewing up this Richies Simply Pale Ale kit. I guess this is what you probably call a budget kit. $10.95 this was. It's made by Richies, so you know Richies make the festival kits, which I'm a big fan of. I'm assuming that the malt extract in these kits is the same high quality as what you'd find in the festival kit. So you know, pretty confident it's going to turn out pretty well. I'm going to be using it in a kind of bit of a bubble and squeak type recipe, in that I'm going to be using up all of the stuff that I've got left lying over from other brews and bug it in. So I've got some crushed light crystal malt grains, which I'm going to steep and add the liquor to the brew. So a packet of this is £1 something, and using it just to add for the steeped grains, you get 3 or 4 brews out of this. Adds pence to the brew. It's not an expensive addition. I've got 500 grams of light dried malt extract left over from another brew, and I've got a pack of 500 grams of Dextrose that came out of a kit. So that the light malt extract and the Dextrose is essentially a kilo of brew enhancer, exactly the same as you get in a brew enhancer. So that's my extra fermentables. As I say, I'm going to use the light crystal malt, steep that. I'm going to actually add some hops to this, and what I'm going to do is I've got some Bramling Cross hops and some East Kent Golding. I'm actually going to bring the steeped grain liquor to the boil. It come down to about 80 degrees, cooling off a little bit. I'm going to add some Bramling Cross, 25 grams of Bramling Cross, and let that steep. So the reason I'm letting it come down to 80 degrees is that I don't want it to impart any of the bitterness from these hops. I literally just want the flavour and the aroma from them. So you need to be a little bit careful when you do those kind of hop stands. I've done it myself. See what on a previous video I think I did with the Cooper's Bootmaker Pale Ale, which turned out really bitter. And I think that was because of the late additions that I made added too much bitterness to it. So I'm going to let that cool down to about 80 degrees, at which point it won't impart any more bitterness to the brew. It'll just give us that flavour and the aroma. So effectively I'm making a kind of hop tea out of the light crystal malt liquor and the Bramling Cross. So that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's a fairly standard brewing process. The only thing, again, I'm going to be swapping out is I've got some Gervin English Ale Yeast, which is a Nottingham Ale Yeast, instead of the pack of stuff that's stuck to the bottom of this. So I don't really know what this is. It's probably good yeast. If it's Richies, it might be the same stuff as they use in their other kits. But what I'm kind of aiming at here is like a real English pale ale type style. So this Gervin yeast is going to really bring out the best of that style, I think, or really enhance that style. So, I've added a few additions. It's not really cost me anything because I've had this stuff laying about. The hops, I don't know, it probably cost me £3 a pack. I'm not going to use all of these. So, all in all, this has probably cost me about 15 quid maybe to make up. So hopefully it's going to be a tasty brew. I'm going to stock up my bottled stash in the shed for the cooler months. And yeah, all good. So in fact, what I did last night is I put some of these grains into steep. So I did a cold steep last night, the day before I'm actually making my brew. I weighed out 200 grams in a sort of grain sack thing, and just put that in 2 litres of cold water, covered it up, put it in the fridge, and that'll be ready now to put into a saucepan and bring to the boil. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get on with the rest of the brew, and I'll see you in the kitchen. So here's the grains that have been steeping in the fridge overnight. As you can see, they're kind of just in this grain sock. It's a lovely sort of caramelly liquor that's been created. So I'm going to just pull this out, give it a gentle squeeze. Not too worried about what I lose in there. I've already gained quite a lot from those grains. Okay, so I'm just going to tip that into my saucepan. And then bring this to the boil. So I'm going to bring it to the boil Leave it boiling for probably, I don't know, 5–10 minutes. Turn it off, and then I'm going to let it come down to about 80 degrees. Alright, so this liquor is now cooled down sufficiently, and I've just weighed out my hops and added it to one of these vegetable bag type things, so just so that I don't get too much hop material into my fermenter, so it's easily strained rather than straining it out after. So yeah, I've got a sterilised bag here, 25 grams of Bramling Cross, and I'm just going to dunk that in. I'm going to let that sit for probably about, I don't know, half an hour, something like that. Let it infuse, make my hop tea, and then I'll be adding that to my fermenter. So in the meantime, I'm just going to get some hot water ready to dissolve the pale ale extract in. Okay, so that is the dextrose, the light malt extract, and the kit all dissolved into their top tip, guys. Always remember to put your malt extract, your liquid malt extract, into hot water before trying to pour it out of the pouch. That's the first time I've done that. I'd forgotten to actually put it in hot water to soak it, and it was a nightmare to get out. So yeah, save yourself the bother. Put it in hot water before you try and pour it out. Lesson learned there. Okay, so over here I've got my steeped, or the liquor from the steeped grains. I've just removed the hops from it, so this is ready to go into the fermenter. I'm just going to bung it all in. It's still fairly warm. Smells really good actually. You can really smell the crystal malt and the hops, surprisingly enough. So I left the hops in there for about 25 minutes, half an hour. I'm going to give this a good stir. Top this up with cold water. Add in my Harris Pure Brew, which I always do with these kits. I highly recommend it. It does make a difference, especially if you're using tap water. Okay, so it's looking good so far. All right, let's get this topped up with cold water, and hopefully it'll be at the temperature for pitching the yeast. Okay, so that's it, guys. So water topped up. I topped it up to about 21 litres in the end. So I'm brewing it slightly short. Came out at 10:48 with my hydrometer reading. So it'll be interesting to see where this one finishes. I've just pitched the yeast, the Wilco's Gervin yeast, giving it a good stir. This is now going to go in the firm fridge for probably about 10 days at 20 degrees. I'm then going to dry hop it with the rest of the Bramling Cross hops, 25 grams of Bramling Cross and 25 grams of East Kent Golding. Leave that for another couple of days, and then bottle it up. So I'll probably see you back in about probably a bit more than that, maybe 6 weeks time, and hopefully it's going to turn out all right. See you back for the testing. Right, we are back for the tasting. So this is the Richies Simply Pale Ale. This has actually been in the bottle now for 2.5 months, which is a bit longer than I would normally leave them. I've had other beers to drink in the meantime, but it came out a little bit too bitter than I was hoping. So I've actually left it a bit longer, hoping that that was kind of going to dampen down a bit. So 2.5 months into the bottle now. Talk about the bitterness in a bit more detail once I've poured this. So there we go. Woo! Pretty lively. Right, so first off, colour-wise, absolutely beautiful golden pale colour. It's more golden than straw colour. I guess that's probably because of the addition of the crystal malt. It's got a lovely head on it, which I'm probably guessing might have something to do with the crystal malt as well. Sort of adds that body and aids sort of head building and retention, that kind of thing. Yeah, it looks a great pint, doesn't it? It really is. So, all right, so what does it smell like? It's got a really nice aroma. You can really sort of smell the floral character of the East Kent Goldings and Bramling Cross. There's a definite hint of blackcurrant there as well, which I think is probably from the Bramling Cross. It's not too hoppy, it's not in your face like a sort of American pale ale. It's quite nice. It's definitely got that kind of English pale ale character to it. Let's go for a taste. Yeah, it's pretty decent actually. So, as I say, it's been in the bottle for 2.5 months now. It's definitely matured over those few weeks. This was kind of just made with the basically a brewing heart, so 500 grams of dextrose, 500 grams of the malt extract. And it was brewed slightly short. Surprisingly, this came out 5.2%, so probably not what I would consider as a session beer, although it doesn't taste strong. It's a nice sort of quaffable beer. You could easily sink a few of these. Dangerously quaffable, I would say. It's got a nice body to it. It's got a kind of nice citrus edge to it, which I'm not sure if that's coming from the hops that I added or from the kit, but it's really quite nice. I have to say, I tried recording this video a few weeks ago, probably after about maybe 4 weeks in the bottle, and the bitterness was overwhelming. So I think I kind of messed up a bit there with my hop stand, and I'm blaming it on my cheapo, shitty thermometer that I got from eBay for a couple of quid. I'm sure it was giving me a false reading. So I would say, if you're going to do that hop stand or make a hot tea, get a decent thermometer and make sure you're under that 80-degree threshold. Otherwise you're going to impart sort of unwanted bitterness. Remember, these kits that we're using as a base are already bittered. So you don't really want to increase that by, adding the bitterness from your hop stand. So I've ditched that thermometer. I've invested in a new one, one of these Inkbird digital food thermometers, which is a waterproof one. I would highly recommend these. It's about 20 quid off of Amazon, I think. Really good. I've been doing some brew in the bag stuff, so I needed an accurate thermometer that I could use for that as well. So get yourself a decent thermometer. Make sure you get under that 80 degrees mark before you do your hop stand, and then you're just going to get flavour and aroma and none of the bitterness. However, having said that, it's definitely sort of petered down over the weeks, and I'd say probably if I gave this as another couple of months in the bottle, this is going to be outstanding. This is going to be a really good beer. So I'm happy to do that. I've got quite a good stock of beer at the moment, so a couple of months is not going to make a big amount of difference to me. So what's my verdict on the Richies Pale? I'd say, yeah, it's a good kit. I'll definitely use it as a base again. I think it'll probably be good maybe with some American hops as well, so I might try that next time if I do it again. Maybe with some Citra or something like that, or Mosaic may be a good one. I think that the addition of the crystal malt was definitely added something to the kit, as it always does. There's a decent malt taste to it, which you probably wouldn't get just from the canned syrup stuff. So it's definitely worth an addition for the few pence that it costs. Yeah, it's a good kit, and I think I'll use it for a base again. Yeah, $10.95, can't go wrong. So yeah, it's a thumbs up from me. Cheers, guys.